So here's some background information that you need to know. First of all, you need to know something about parallel lines. All right, slopes of parallel lines. So, of course, you know that parallel lines are lines that go in the same direction, so they never touch. Okay, now, what if I told you that the slope of the first line is, let's say, 2/3? Could you tell me what the slope of the other line would be?
2/3.
It would also be 2/3. Okay, so parallel lines have the same slope. That's thing number one. Now let's talk about perpendicular lines. Okay, perpendicular lines go like this. You know what, let me do. We'll have the blue line and we'll have the pink line. So they're going to be perpendicular if they meet at a 90-degree angle. Now, so let's say the pink line has a slope of 2/3. Would you know what the slope of the blue line is going to be?
No.
Okay, so there are two things that are going to change. When we have perpendicular lines, we say that the slopes are opposite and reciprocal. Okay, the reciprocal part means if I have 2/3, then the other line is going to have slope 3/2. That's the reciprocal. Opposite means opposite in sign. So the pink line is a positive slope, and then the blue line is a negative slope. Okay?
Okay.
So let's see. What if the pink line had slope of 5? What would be the slope of the blue line?
-5.
That's close. Okay, -5, that gets me the opposite part. Now, +5, if I look at it as a fraction, would be like 5/1. So
It'll be -1/5.
it would be -1/5. Okay, so this would be how the slopes of perpendicular lines work. So keep that in the back of your mind. All right, now next we need to talk about the model equations of lines. So there are two of them. One is called Slope-Intercept Form. All right, and Slope-Intercept Form is the one that goes like this: y equals mx plus b. So in this form of a linear equation, what does the m represent?
1? No, the slope.
Yeah, the m represents the slope. Okay, and what does the b represent?
The number?
Well, a specific number. The b represents the y-intercept.
Oh.
Okay, and that's why they call this slope-intercept form, because you will have the slope and you will have the y-intercept right there. So just
Can I screenshot this?
say that again.
Can I screenshot what you just did?
Yeah, feel free.
Okay. Okay.
All right. So for example, if I have an equation y equals 3x minus 7, then I know that the slope is 3 and the y-intercept is -7. All right, did you get it?
Yes, I got it.
All right. Okay, so that is the first model for the equation of a line. Now here's the second one. The second one is called point slope form. Point slope form. Okay, now in point slope form, it's going to look like this. We have y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1.
Oh, hold up, my stepmom is calling me. Can I answer it?
Sure, go ahead.
Hello? Hello? Hey. Okay. Yes, it is. Alright, I'll turn it off. Alright, come on.
Okay, so let's say if we're given a point -2, 3, and we're given the slope let's say 4/5. If I wanted to write an equation of that line, this would be a good time to use point slope form because we're given a point and we're given a slope. So it would go like this. We would have y minus. Now the y1 is going to be the y value right here. So this is what they mean by y1. So it'll be y minus 3 equals. And then still m is the slope. So that would be the 4/5 that would go right here. Alright, and then the x minus x1, well I just keep the x. X1, that's the -2. Now I'm going to wind up changing the sign and doing a +2 because I have x minus x1. So that's like having x minus -2. And when you do minus and negative, that's a positive. So basically, if you have a negative number, you're going to put a plus. If you have a positive number, you're going to put a minus. So that's how point slope form works. Are you with me?
So it just changed because it was a positive to a negative.
Exactly. Right. So in this form, everything changes sign. So if I have a +3, then I'm going to have y minus 3. If I have a -2, then I'll have x plus 2. Okay, so I think that is the background information that you need to be able to answer these questions. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, what is the equation of the line that is parallel to this line and passes through the point 4, 32? Okay, so we need an equation. So if we want to make an equation, the first thing we're going to need is the slope. So look at this equation right here, the one they gave us. What's the slope of this line?
The 1.
Not the 1.
No, it's the 4.
It's the 4. Okay, yes, it's the 4. So they gave us the slope. So they're telling us that the slope of one line is 4. Now they're telling us parallel lines. So if we have parallel lines and we have one line has a slope of 4, what's going to be the slope of the other line?
4.
It's also going to be 4. So basically they're telling us that the slope is 4. And that's the only reason why we needed this equation. So once we know that the slope is 4, we're not going to do anything else with that equation. Okay, so now we know that the slope is 4, and then we have this point. Alright, so basically we know that the slope is 4, and we have a point of 4, 32. So, we have a choice. We could either use y equals mx plus b, or we can use the other form that's like y minus y is equal to slope times x minus x. Which one of these do you want to use?
The first one that I see you do already, that I already know to do.
Okay, the y equals mx plus b one?
Yes.
Okay, so that's so we'll go ahead and use the slope-intercept version. Okay, so here we go. So we know that y equals mx plus b. But now we know that the slope is 4. So I'm going to take that 4 and I'm going to put it in right here for the slope. All right, so I'm going to have a 4 right here. Now, the x and y are the x and y of a point. So they gave us x and y. So y is 32, so I could put that in. X is 4, so I could put that in. So the only thing I'm missing is the y-intercept. So this equation will be easy to solve. So I have 32 is equal to 16 plus b. And then I just have to subtract 16 from both sides. Okay, so 32 minus 16 is 16. All right, so now I have the slope, which is 4, and I have the y-intercept, which is 16. Put it all together using our y equals mx plus b model.
Oh, I see.
You see it?
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be 4x plus 16. Okay, so that's why the answer should be this bottom one.
Should be. Yep.
Okay? Alright. So most of these problems are very similar. They just make small changes. So like on the last problem, they gave us the equation in point slope form. Alright, like that second one, that second model. This time they're giving us the equation in what you would call standard form. So basically, we're going to do the same thing, but it's going to take an extra step to figure out what the slope is.
Will be 12?
I have no idea off the top of my head. If I want to know what the slope of this is, I need to rewrite it in slope-intercept form. Okay, I'm going to take this equation and I'm going to rewrite it to look like this. So basically we have to get y by itself. So if I wanted to get y by itself, I'm going to subtract 5x from both sides. Okay, so that'll give me 2y is equal to negative 5x plus 12. What do I have to do now to get this y by itself?
Subtract.
Not subtract. If this was 2 plus y equals, now I would subtract the 2 to get rid of it. But because I have 2y, this is multiplication. What's the opposite of multiplication?
Division.
Division. So that's what we need to do. We need to divide to get rid of this 2. Alright, so I need to divide 3 places. Here, here, and here. Okay, so that's going to give me y equals negative 5 over 2x plus 6. And the only point of this is we need to know what the slope is. So what is the slope of this line?
Negative 5 over 2?
That's right. So basically now we know that the slope is negative 5 over 2.
Dad, can I have lunch?
Yeah, go ahead, sweetie.
Okay.
So we know the slope is negative 5 over 2. Alright, so let's file that away. So I'm going to put that up here out of the way. Slope is negative 5 over 2. Because notice again, we're dealing with a parallel line. So we know that the slope is going to be the same. Alright, so the rest of the problem is going to be just like the last problem that we did. We know the slope, now we need to find the y-intercept.
It'll either be A or B.
Right, so that's a good point. So we know it has to be negative 5 over 2, so we know it can't be any of these. So basically we just need to figure out what the y-intercept is. So just like last time, I'm going to take my y equals mx plus b, and I'm going to substitute in everything. So the slope, of course, is negative 5 over 2. Now, where am I going to get a y value from?
The B.
Give me a number. What's the y
Oh.
value that I have?
4.
4. There you go. What's the x value that I have?
Negative 2.
Negative 2, right? Because this is when they give us a point, they're giving us an x and a y. So we have 4 and negative 2. So we have everything except for b, so we should be able to solve for it. Okay, so this is like having negative 2 over 1. A negative times a negative is a positive. So this will be positive 10 over 2. Alright, of course 10 divided by 2 is 5. If I subtract 5 from both sides, I get negative 1. So now I know that the slope is negative 5 over 2 and the y-intercept is negative 1. So if I put that all into a y equals mx plus b form, slope-intercept form, then I have negative 5 over 2x minus 1. So that's why it should be the top one, A.
A.
Okay, let's take a look. And that's why the answer was A. Does that make sense so far?
Yes.
All right, let's keep going. All right, this problem is almost the same. But this time, it's not multiple choice. They have answers in different forms, and it could be more than one. But we're going to go through the same process. Let's take this original equation and get y by itself. So if I subtract 3x from both sides, then that's going to give me negative 4y is equal to negative 3x plus 7. Does that make sense so far?
Yes.
How do I get this y by itself?
You subtract 3 from 4 and 7.
Let's subtract 3 from... No, look, don't look at this. I have negative 4y. I want to get y by...
Myself?
Yeah,
Aren't you dividing?
right. I'm going to divide by what?
4.
Okay, so I'm going to divide everything by negative 4. So don't do the opposite sign. Keep the sign exactly the same when you divide. So we're going to divide everything by negative 4. And that's going to get y by itself. So I'm going to have y equals. Now, a negative divided by a negative is a positive. So that'll make 3/4 x. And then I have minus 7 over 4. Whoa, got a little ugly there. Okay, minus 7 over 4. Now, all we really care about is the slope. That's the only reason why we're doing this. So just look at this and tell me what's the slope.
3 over 4.
3 over 4. And again, we're talking parallel. So the slope that we're going to use should be the same. So we don't need to change it. So I'm just going to keep the 3 over 4. All right, so the slope is 3 over 4. Okay, now we need to find the y-intercept and all that kind of stuff. Now, because a lot of these equations, I see some of these equations are in the other form that we haven't messed with yet, I think we need to give that a try. So remember, here's what the other form looks like. It goes y minus y1 is equal to the slope times x minus x1. Okay, so we're going to be kind of forced to use this because of some of the choices are in this shape. Okay, so here we go. The slope is the m, so I'm going to put that right there, 3/4. Now on the left side I have y minus y1. So I have y minus, and here's my y1 is -4. But since this is -4, remember, once I put it, yeah, I'm going to change it. So it's going to become y plus 4. What am I going to put inside the parentheses here? Oh wait, that was the wrong number. Because -4 is the x value. Okay.
Oh yeah, so it'll be negative. No, it'll be positive 2.
So here will be positive 2 because that's my y value. Okay. And this, because my x value is -4, what am I going to put in here?
Negative. I mean, you're -4.
Nope.
Change it.
Change it. All right. Both of them get changed. So I have a -4, so I'm going to have x plus 4 in here. So look, this using this form, this is an equation of the line. So let's see, does this match anything? So I have y plus 2 equals 3/4 times x plus 4. So that matches this bottom one perfectly. So that means the bottom one is definitely going to be one of the answers. Now looking at the next one above, it has the wrong slope and it has the wrong signs and stuff, so I know that is not going to be one of the answers. So I'm going to forget about that. Okay, so now we just need to figure out what about the rest of these. Let's go ahead and go for the top one, because the top one is good old y equals mx plus b, so that should be pretty easy. Now I don't want to start all the way over again. I want to go from here. Let's pick up where we left off. So the way we can do that is by just doing the distributive property. So if I take 3/4 and I multiply it across, so here I have y plus 2 over here, and now I'll have 3/4 x. So it's a matter of what's 3/4 times 4. I think I'll do that off to the side. If I have 3/4 times 4, alright, that's like 3/4 times 4 over 1. So that's like having 12 over 4, which is just 3. Okay, so if I do 3/4 times 4, I'm going to get 3. Now I'm still shooting for y equals mx plus b. So I need to get y by itself. How do I get rid of this positive 2?
You're going to divide, right? Because you're trying to get rid of the y.
I know, but look, okay. Compare these two things. Say if I have 2y. Okay, now compare that to if I have y plus 2. Now,
Oh! Okay.
do you see the difference?
Yeah.
Which one of these am I going to divide?
The 2y.
Yeah, the 2y, this is when you divide to get rid of the 2.
You subtract on the other one.
The other one you subtract, alright? So just keep those straight from each other. So this is the time that I would subtract. Okay, so if I do that, now I have y equals 3/4 x plus 1. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Now compare that to this equation up here. Are they the same?
It says negative.
This says -3/4, so that should be wrong then. Okay, so now it's just a matter of these last two. Okay, so again, I don't want to start all over again. I want to pick up where we left off. So let's pick up from here. Notice that these last two versions, they have no fractions in them. So it's a matter of how do I get rid of the fractions. Now, if you want to get rid of a fraction, multiply by the denominator. So 4. Now, I can't just multiply just this. I have to distribute the whole equation. So I'm going to multiply by 4 here, here, and here. Okay, so that'll give me 4y. Now, these will just cancel out. So I'll have 3x, and then I'll have plus 4. Okay. Now, looking at these, I see they have x and y on the left, and then they have the numbers on the right. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to get this x over to the left. So I want to move the whole thing. So I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. So that way, those are gone. So now I have negative 3x plus 4y is equal to 4. Okay. Now I'm going to start to, all right, it's supposed to be an eraser. I'm going to start to look at my options here. Let's see. Now, so these are looking pretty similar, except for the signs. Do you see how both of these are positive? Positive 3 and positive 4? But here I have a negative 3 in the front. So what we should probably do is multiply everything by negative 1 to make it look more similar. So if I multiply each of these by negative 1, all that's going to do is change all the signs. So now I'll have a positive 3x minus 4y is equal to negative 4. All right, just basically I just changed all the signs. That's valid. Now, does this match either of these two equations that we have?
You matched the second one.
Yeah, it matches the second one. Okay, so that means this is another valid equation of a line, which means this one can't be. All right, because it should have a 3, not a 4. You know, everything's backwards and such. So this one has got to be wrong. So it should be the second one and the last one. Let's see how we did. Okay, and that's why it's the second one and the last one. All right, that was pretty complicated. But the more, yeah, that had a lot going on to it. But I think you'll get used to it. All right, let's see. What is the equation in point-slope form? And so look at all these. This is that other form, point-slope form, of a line that's parallel to the given line and passes through this point. Okay, so there's that word parallel again. So that means it should be the same as whatever is going on here. Now let's see. Now they were kind enough to give us a graph. So if I want to find the slope, I can just do rise over run. I don't have to do any adding and subtracting. So I see that it's going up 3 and over 2. Can you see that?
Yes.
All right, so the slope up 3 over 2, rise over run. 3, so that's a positive 3 over 2. Okay, so I know that's going to be my slope, and then they gave us a point. So let's do the model. The model went again like this. It was y minus y1 is equal to the slope times x minus x1. Okay, so now that we know that the slope is 3 over 2, so that should go right here. Now remember, this minus y1 and minus x1, that means change the signs. Okay, so my negative 3, that's an x value. So I'm going to put that in here, but I'm going to put x plus 3 because you have to change the signs for this. All right, now this 1 is a y value, so I'm going to put it over with the y. But am I going to put minus 1 or am I going to put plus 1?
-1.
I'm going to put -1 because you have to change the sign for both of them. So this should be the equation. So now I'm just going to look down and find it. Okay, that has a negative, so that's not it. That's upside down. That's upside down. It's the bottom one. Okay, so that wasn't too bad. That wasn't too bad.
That one was easy.
Yeah, so it's just a matter of knowing the slope.
The formula for it.
Exactly. So with the notes, make sure you have these all these notes written down as far as the like this model that I keep writing.
Yeah, that's what I screenshotted at first.
All right, that's good. That's good. Okay, so this problem is going to be very similar. It's just that the answers are in a different form. But let's start off the same exact way. Again, they're using this word parallel, so I should be able to just pull the slope right off of here. Let's see what's going on. Now, let me ask you a quick question on the black screen. At a glance, you should be able to know whether or not a line has a positive slope or a negative slope. You know what? Let me do different colors. Okay, so again, so we have our pink line, and then we have our blue line. Which one of these has a positive slope? The pink line or the blue line? Which has a positive slope?
Blue.
The blue line has a positive slope. Okay? The pink line has a negative slope. So it sounds like you understand that if you are moving across the page from left to right, if you're on the pink line, you're going downhill. All right? That's why it's a negative slope. On the blue line, now you're going uphill. So that's a positive slope. Okay? So that's important because at a glance, I want you to know this line in the graph, is this a positive slope or a negative slope?
Negative?
It's
No, positive.
No, you're right. You're right the first time. It's negative because you're from left to right, this is going downhill. Okay? From left to right is going downhill. So that will just help you avoid the mistake. When you do the slope, no matter what happens, it better be negative. So now I'm going to look for my rise and run. Okay? So this is going down and to the right. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Because it's going down 4, I'm going to call it -4. And then it's going to the right 3. So my rise over run okay, my rise is actually a fall. So we have a rise of -4 and a run of 3. All right, so that is -4/3. All right, so does that make sense so far that that is going to be the slope?
Yes.
Okay, and they said parallel, so we're not going to change it. We're going to keep that. Now, they gave us a point. So let's go ahead and use the point slope form, the same one we did last time. So I'm going to do this. Y minus y1 is equal to the slope x minus x1. All right, my slope is, you know what, I'll just go ahead and put it like -4/3, kind of like we had right here. Now my x, see the -3? What am I going to put inside the parentheses?
+3, -2.
Yeah. +3, and then for the y, I'm going to put the -2 over here. Okay? So this is an equation of the line. But none of the answers are in that form, so I need to fix this. I need to get rid of the parentheses and I need to get rid of the fraction. So I could do that by doing the distributive property over here. So that'll be negative 4 over 3x. So I have to do negative 4 over 3 times 3. Now, if you're clever, you might notice that the 3's are just going to cancel each other out and leave you with negative 4. Now, if you didn't notice that, then you would have to go ahead and multiply it out, and maybe you would go negative 12 over 3, and then you would get negative 4 that way. Either way, you're going to get negative 4. Okay, so I have this so far. Now to get the y by itself, I'm going to add the 2 to both sides. I'm running out of space, so I'm going to come over here. So now I have y equals negative 4 over 3x minus 2. Alright, now still, so now I have this is a sort of a y equals mx plus b, slope-intercept form. But I'm looking at these, and it's that standard form that has no fractions in it. So I need to keep going. I'm going to make space. How do I get rid of the fraction?
You multiply it by 2?
Not by
You
2.
multiply by the denominator.
Right. Exactly right. So that's why I'm going to multiply everything by 3 to get rid of the fraction because of the denominator. So I have to multiply all 3 places, though. So these 3's are going to cancel out. Yeah, you got it. So I've got 3y is equal to negative 4x minus 6. Now I need the x and y to be on the left-hand side. So I'm going to add this entire thing to both sides, positive 4x. That way these cancel out. So now looking at this left-hand side, and just putting these side by side, you can't combine them, so you just write 4x plus 3y. And on the right-hand side, all I have is negative 6. So this is the answer. So I'm just looking up, and I see that it is the bottom one. Okay, so that's why the bottom one is the answer.
I'll be second guessing myself. Is this my work, right?
Right, yeah, these are the answers that you had.
Yeah, I'll be second guessing myself.
Well, you'll know better when you do it again. Alright, now notice, alright, I'm going to do this really, really fast. Just now I used that other form of the equation, you know, the y minus y, m, x minus x. But if you had wanted to, you could have done y equals mx plus b. Now I'm going to do this like super fast, okay? You had the slope, you have a point at x and y. So you could have gone like this. 2 is equal to negative 4 over 3 times negative 3 plus b. You could have done it like this. I'm doing this in my head. See, you're just going to get negative 4 once you multiply that out. And then you would add 4 to both sides. And that gives you 6. So that's your b. So that gives you y equals negative 4 over 3x plus 6. And then from there you would do the same thing, multiply everything by 3 and stuff. So I just wanted to show you that you could do it either way. Okay, let's go on to the next one. I think we have two left. I need the space. Okay. A given line segment has a midpoint at negative 1, negative 2. So this is the midpoint right here. What is the equation in slope-intercept form of the perpendicular bisector. Okay, so we have two key words here, perpendicular and bisector. Now as far as bisector, bisector just means it's going to go through the midpoint. So we are basically looking for the equation of the line that goes like this. All right, it's got to be perpendicular and it's got to go through this midpoint. Okay, so fine, we have a point. Let me try that again. I said we have a point. Okay, now we need the slope like we always do. Now let's start with the slope of the blue line. Okay, so we're going to have the blue slope and then we're going to have the pink slope. Alright, but let's start with the blue slope. Let's see, if I just do kind of a rise over run again, alright, so rise over run. It seems to go up 1 over 4.
Oh, 4?
Alright, is that what you, do you see 4?
Because the pink dot, I didn't count the pink dot.
Oh yeah. So I'm looking at the squares and it's going like 1, 2, 3, 4 squares. So that's 1/4. And it makes sense that it's positive because it's going uphill. So positive 1/4. Now, so that's the blue slope though. We want a perpendicular line. So we got to be real careful because we're not going to use 1/4 this time like we did when it was parallel. Alright, we're going perpendicular. So do you remember what I told you at the very beginning? That's right. So what will be the slope of the pink line, the perpendicular line?
Oh, okay, it would be 4 over 1?
It would be 4 over...
Negative.
That's right. It would be negative 4 over 1. Now, when you have 4 over 1, do we really need the 1 at the bottom?
No.
No. So, but it's good to think about it. 1 over 4 becomes 4 over 1, but we don't really need the 1 when it's on the bottom. So the slope that we're really going to use is the pink slope, not the blue slope. All right, we need the pink one because it said perpendicular. So negative 4 is our slope. Now the rest is going to be like what we've done 5 times already. Okay, we're going to use this slope and we're going to do our y equals mx plus b using this point. Okay, so I see the y value here is negative 2. Our slope is negative 4. Our x value is negative 1. And now we can find the b. So a negative times a negative is a positive. Subtract the 4 away. All right, what is negative 2 minus 4? Yeah, what does this make?
2?
Nope. Let's see. Let's use our calculator. If I do negative 2 minus 4, that's going to be negative 6.
Okay, you're basically adding because the negative and negative equals.
Exactly. You're basically adding because they have the same sign, so it's like negative 2 and negative 4 make negative 6. Okay, so let's put that together. So we have the slope of negative 4 and we have the y-intercept of negative 6. Put it together in y equals mx plus b form and it becomes negative 4x minus 6. Okay, so it's b. All right, I think this is the last one. Just checking. All right, what's the equation of the line that's perpendicular to the line and passes through the point. So we're looking for the equation of this line right here. Now, this problem is different from all the other problems that we've done. Hold on, that's bugging me. It's a little crooked. This problem is different because we're dealing with horizontal and vertical lines now. So look how small these equations are. It's not like y equals mx plus b or anything like that. Uh-oh, hold on. My computer's about to die. Okay, so let me give you just a quick little lesson on that over here on the black screen. So here's what you need to know.
Oh, snap.
Okay, so if I have a horizontal line like this, a horizontal line is always going to have the equation of y equals a number. Now, you see how this line is at a height of 3? So this would be the line y equals 3. Okay, now let's see. Say if I had a horizontal line down here, like this. It's horizontal, so again it's going to be y equals a number. What do you think is going to be? Negative 2. Okay, so that's how horizontal lines work. Now what about vertical lines? Okay, so say if I have a vertical line right here. Vertical lines have the equation x equals a number. What do you think the number is going to be?
Positive 1.
Positive 1. All right, let's do just one more. If I put a vertical line over here, what's going to... That's right, x equals negative 3. So remember, if you have a vertical line, it's going to be x equals a number. If you have a horizontal line, it's going to be y equals a number. So we are supposed to find the equation of a line that is perpendicular to the given line. So that's why I drew this pink line. So if I want the equation of this pink line, is it going to be y equals a number, or is it going to be x equals a number? The pink line.
It'll be... it'll be x.
That's right. It'll be x equals a number because it's a vertical line. So we know it should be x equals something. So right away we can forget about the bottom two choices. So now it's just a matter of x equals what? Well, look at the point that it goes through. All right? It goes through the point, and I'm going to just write it real big, 2, 6. Now if I know that the equation is going to be x equals something, look at this point. What do you think the x value is going to be? 2, right? Because that's the x value. So it wouldn't make sense to say x equals 6 when clearly x equals 2. So that's why the top one should be the right answer. All right, is that that's it. So I think that you will do much better. I'm going to give you another try at this quiz, and I want you to give it another shot. Make sure you have your notes nearby, especially with all those equations and things that we talked about.
Yes. Like that stuff where you have to have multiple choices. That one was like, whoa.
Yeah, that one had many steps, but most of them are not going to be that hard. So even if you get like some wrong, I think you'll do a lot better than you did last time. All right, so I'm going to let you go, and I'm going to reset you, and let me know how you do.
All right.
All right, good luck, girl.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.